Hi everyone, Mike here from BikesbyMike with another cycling related video. Today I'll show you a cycling hack that I just learned about recently. It's one of those, oh yeah, why didn't I think of that moments. This is one of those times when sport and medicine come together in the most unusual way. Okay, let's get to it. So what is this great hack I just discovered? It's pre-tape spray adhesive. What is it good for? Keeping Aero socks from slipping down your ankles. Yeah, not as exciting as talking about new bike tech, but hey, I'd rather be seen riding a crappy bike than riding a bike with my Aero socks down to my ankles. Do you agree? In today's video, I'll start off by talking about the benefits of Aero socks and why you may want to consider them as a worthy upgrade to your cycling kit. Next, I'll show you what brand of Aero socks I use and my impression of them after using them for one full season. I'll then test out Mueller's pre-tape adhesive spray while doing an indoor spin in my basement. I'll see whether it will hold my socks in place during a 90-minute ride. And lastly, I'll wrap things up with my rating and recommendation on this product. Before I show you the hack, let me talk to you a bit about Aero socks in general. Even though Aero socks are super expensive and don't last nearly as long as standard cycling socks, I still do like them and use them. They're light, feel great in hot weather, and look really pro. Want to round out a super nice cycling kit? Get a pair of Aero socks. But best of all, if you're looking for marginal gains on the bike, you won't find a better performance upgrade from a dollars per watt savings perspective than with Aero socks. I've already explained in a previous video why buying a new model year bike usually doesn't make sense from a pure value standpoint. But most of the other ways to gain an efficiency advantage aren't cheap either. So as much as I think Aero socks are a bit overpriced for what they are, from a dollars per watt savings perspective, they are hard to beat compared to other performance upgrades. Like, who wouldn't want to save between 4 to 8 watts when you're absolutely cooked? I'll take whatever free watts I can get. So when I was preparing for my second Oat Route race last year, I made several upgrades to my bike and kit to try to gain a few extra watt savings. And if you want more info on each of these upgrades, check out the links in the description, as I did a separate video on all of them, or mostly all of them. I replaced my slightly heavier Cannondale SuperSix road bike with the more climbing focused, yet still Aero SuperSix EVO, dropping the weight by about 250 grams, excluding the wheels. I built up a custom wheel set made up of 55mm deep light bicycle rims and DT Swiss 180 hubs. That dropped the weight a further 240 grams while still maintaining an Aero profile. Then I went to less expensive Aero savings. I put on a pair of Victoria Corsa race tires to keep the rolling resistance to a minimum. I did a full strip down and thorough waxing of my chain to make sure it was working as efficiently as possible. And I bought a Casque Utopia Aero helmet, which weighs just a few grams more than my Casque Vellegro, which is much better at cutting through the wind. And last, but certainly not least, I stocked up on a few different pairs of Aero socks. I really have no idea how many watts I saved with all this. To get a ballpark estimate, I only took 40% of the claimed watt savings. That's a good starting point to adjust for more realistic riding conditions, and to reflect the fact that what I was using previously wasn't all that bad from either a weight or aerodynamics perspective. So adding up the individual watt savings of each of the components, I get 39.2 watts in total estimated savings. Or that's what I want to believe. The largest absolute watt savings comes from my new wheels and tires. But in terms of which is the best value, Aero socks come out on top, costing $9.38 US per watt, or $12.55 Canadian per watt. It's really no contest. I tested out a few Aero socks over the past year, but some just didn't perform all that well. Either they wore out quickly, or they would slip down my leg after some time on the bike. These are the two brands of Aero socks I settled on, which worked the best of the ones I tried: Outtake and Cannondale. I find that Aero socks stay up all right if I'm not sweating too much and if I don't have anything on my legs to prevent the silicone grippers from doing their thing. The thing is, my legs are covered with junk. Basically 3 layers of greasy stuff. I put on Lactigo Performance Gel first, followed by Amp Human PR Lotion second. By the way, if you haven't checked out my video on these two products, I've included links in the description. My third coat is sunscreen. So the problem is that after adding all this stuff to my legs and then sweating out a ton on really hot days, the surface of my skin is really slippery for the socks to get any kind of grip. So yeah, most of the time my socks will slip down to my ankles. That's a really bad look. I'm not even going to show you a photo of that. It's too embarrassing. Now, I know this isn't just a problem I'm having because other riders were complaining about the exact same thing during Outroute Dolomites. Everyone was saying that the regular cycling socks held up just fine, but the Aero socks just didn't stay in place. But then Murray, part of our tour group, pipes up and says, use this. And he shows us a picture of Mueller's pre-tape adhesive. Basically, it's a medical adhesive spray designed to keep bandages and dressings in place. So it's specifically designed to be sprayed on the skin, so you don't have to worry about it washing off or irritating your skin. Brilliant. Why didn't I think of that? The only time I've ever seen this hack in action was for a fraction of a second in the Tour de France Unchained Netflix series. Mueller spray isn't that easy to find in Canada, but I was able to purchase it online through the Chiropractic College for $24.50 Canadian for a 10-ounce canister. So I decided to do my own little test to see if Mueller's pre-tape adhesive works in keeping Aero socks up and in place. The weather wasn't cooperating, so I had to test it out on an indoor spin. So right off the bat, I admit that this is an easier test than I would have liked to do. Ideally, I would like to repeat this on a long outdoor ride in really hot conditions. Inside, I don't sweat as much, I just can't ride as long, and you don't get the road vibration that can shake your socks down to your ankles. But putting that all aside, this is how I did the test. I put my Aero socks on both feet, and then I followed my normal routine of applying Lactigo, PR lotion, and sunscreen to my legs. I then sprayed my left lower leg with Mueller's pre-tape adhesive. I gave it a good spray but didn't go overboard. I applied what I think is a normal amount. I rolled up my sock and I already could feel it was binding quite strongly to my leg. That's a good sign. My right leg was going to be my control leg, so to speak, so I didn't apply anything to it. I've used these socks several times, so I know that typically they start losing their grip after about 20 to 30 minutes of outdoor riding. But since I'm using them indoors, my guess is that they will hold up much longer. I went for a 90-minute spin at a zone 3 and 4 pace. I tried to mix it up with slow and fast cadence intervals, as well as both seated and out of the saddle efforts. When I was done, I compared the two socks to see how each held up. You can see that neither sock slipped down too much, but the untreated one did slide down about an inch or so. And it was also easy to pull down. Outside, I'm sure I wouldn't have been able to keep them in place for the whole ride. By comparison, my left sock with the Mueller adhesive was still really stuck to my leg. Like so much so that it was hard to just grab the sock material to pull it down. Even when I pulled it down, I could pull it back up and it would still strongly adhere to my leg. And again, this was with the two performance gels and the sunscreen applied to both legs. So, what's the verdict on this sock hack? I say it works really, really well. And it's the only way I found that keeps Aero socks in place. I experienced no skin irritation, which is the only concern I had going into this. Given it is designed for medical applications and to be sprayed directly onto the skin, I suspect most people will tolerate it just fine. This is a spray adhesive, so until you wash it off, you will feel some tackiness on your skin. But it does clean up quite nicely in the shower, so I'm happy about that. I'll give it a score of 9 out of 10. I can't give it a perfect score as I have nothing to compare it to, but I don't see how they could work any better, as I don't see how these Aero socks will ever drop down, regardless of my riding conditions. I know that there are a lot of other similar spray adhesives out there, so I suggest trying whatever is available in your area. So that's pretty much it for my explanation of the best hack for your Aero socks. Try it out and let me know your thoughts. That's all I've got for today, folks. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you're not subscribed to this channel, Please subscribe as it allows me to produce more content for all of you. See you next time. Happy rolling.